track on Saturday morning. Hopefully you should be able to see those bridge lifts. Usually happens over the course of a few hours because they lift them starting from the west, heading to the east, so that a bunch of tall sailboats can go party out on Lake Michigan all summer. It's really fun to watch, so if you get the chance to like park along the Riverwalk when that's happening, definitely do. Or if not, then admire the bridge houses as we pass by them. Really interesting piece of history. They're all architecturally unique. There goes the Green Line across Lake Street Bridge over here. And just behind it is the next building I want to talk about here. This amazing feat of engineering that is balanced on its point. This is 150 North Riverside, and it is only 40 feet across, 39 feet to be exact, at the base here, holding up that entire skyscraper. They designed it that way because they actually had no choice. So there's a lot of restrictions on building at this lot. On the right side where it cuts in, that's because there is a big old train running underground. The same one that goes under the Hot Pocket, the Metra and Amtrak lines continue along the river there, so they couldn't put foundations through train tracks. And then closer to us, the building is subject to our 30-foot pedestrian setback law. Again, this is what we're trying to do nowadays. We need to leave more space for pedestrians to enjoy the river. So any new building being constructed along the Chicago River has to leave 30 feet for people to walk by. It's a great idea, but it did leave the engineers of 150 North Riverside with a bit of a problem. Just about 40 feet to work with to hold up their skyscraper. So how did they do it? They used a few techniques. First up, caissons, which are huge foundational beams of steel and concrete. They go so deep underground down here, they touch the bedrock 120 feet below the surface. There goes another green line, I believe, or maybe that's the pink. Oh, it's the pink line. The pink line is the baby of the family. It's from just 2006. It's also shorter than most of the other trains. It has one fewer car. So they've got these beams going really deep underground, so that helps with what we've got going below Chicago, which is essentially a swamp. We have to put our foundations really deep down because of that. But then we also have a lot going on in the air. This is the Windy City, of course. We've got the elements to deal with. We've got the snow. So to make sure that this building doesn't rock back and forth too much, thanks to its skinny foundation, we added an anti-sway technique. There are big tanks of water up there at the top of 150 North Riverside that are acting as liquid pendulums. As the building sways one way in the wind, the water in the tanks slashes in the other direction due to inertia, thus dampening the effect of the wind, hence the name inertial slash dampers. There's actually 160,000 gallons of water up there, and it also doubles as a fire suppression system, so that's pretty convenient. Now, we are about to travel through architectural history of the 20th century here. So to get ready for our time travel journey, go ahead and strap into your DeLoreans. We're going to start with the Jazz Age. We're headed into Art Deco Canyon. We're going to have two designs, each from 1929 on either side of us here. You can see that the Art Deco style really features this humongous scale. Lots of limestone cladding on the outside, lots of ornamentation, decorations. People loved carving in the 1920s. You can really see that on the left here at the Civic Opera Building. We've got comedy and tragedy masks carved into the side, telling you a little bit about what happens in the building. The whole thing is kind of shaped like a giant throne here. So in the seat of the throne, that is where the venue is, the actual stage. And then the arms in the back of the chair are office spaces that are either used by the opera or rented out to tenants. Unfortunately for the opera, though, they finished constructing their building in July of 1929. It was just a little bit before the stock market crash came along. So they ran out of business pretty fast, just a year or two after the stock market crash kicked off the Great Depression. This brought the Roaring Twenties to a screeching halt. Suddenly, we were broke and we could not afford to build skyscrapers for years. After the Depression was World War II, at which point we were sending all of our materials overseas for the war effort. So this meant we had 2 whole decades without any new skyscrapers across the United States. When we got back to it in the 50s and 60s, buildings looked very different, as you can see. Now on our right here, we have Gateway Center 1 and 2. Two more black boxes here from 1965 and 67, respectively. By this time period, Americans were war-hardened. People were less concerned with carving comedy and tragedy masks into the side of their building. More concerned with cost-effectiveness. Architects were now children of the Great Depression. That resulted in this much more stark and simple style. Really not many decorations to be seen. All of that stone decorating the outside of the Art Deco counterparts has been stripped away, just leaving the building skeleton behind on the outside as its only decor. The father of modernism, again, Mies van der Rohe, he's the one who said less is more. He also said, I don't want to be interesting, I want to be good. Next, we're going to sail into the 70s, where we invented this incredible new technology up here called white box modernism. Wow, we picked a new color. Really, the building is designed to be boring. We call it international style design here at Gateway Center 3 from 1971, because the idea is it's so bland that you could pick it up and put it down in any city around the world and it would still blend right in. No one would notice. So you might have a building just like this in your hometown, in which case, twinsies. But there's not much more to talk about with this one here, which is nice, because next we're getting to sail into the 80s. This is where it gets fun again here. We've got big hair, glam rock, even a touch of the space age you can kind of see in this building coming up on the right. It's got this curve, that rippling facade. That is Gateway Center 4 from 1983. The curve of the building is actually designed to match the curve of the Chicago River here. The glass looks like light reflecting on water. It's called bubble glass. Every pane caves outward to give the building's facade that effect. So this is a lovely early example of contextualism from the 80s, referencing the context of the Chicago River itself. And with that, we've just about caught up to contemporary architecture, so we can step out of our DeLoreans, great time travel sesh, and we'll look ahead of us to the left where we have another giant black box. Now we see a lot of these on the tour, so it used to be we basically ignored this one, there just wasn't much to say, and the owners of the building didn't like that. They wanted to spice things up a little bit, get some more attention, so they put a giant map on the outside of their building. They literally put themselves on the map here. This is a "You Are Here" sign, essentially. You can see that red rectangle up there in the middle. That's this building, 300 South Wacker, which we're passing. The line curving up the side, up to that Y-shaped convergence. That is, of course, the Chicago River. And it only cost $300,000. What a steal. Hopefully it was worth it. Next on our right, we're coming up on another huge Art Deco building here. You can tell from the limestone, those vertical stripes. This building you might recognize if you are a Batman fan. This was featured as Gotham City Bank in The Dark Knight. The Joker robs this building at the beginning of the movie, so watch out where you're in there, I guess. The Chicagoans, though, this is not a bank. This was their old main post office. In fact, it was the largest post office in the world when it was constructed in 1930. Why? Chicago is not the largest city in the world. It's because this was the magical land of the mail order catalog. Wow. Perhaps if you're over 30, you remember companies like Sears, Montgomery Ward. The memories. They were based here in Chicago. So we needed a big old post office for them. Later, though, that business model went out of fashion with the rise of Amazon, so the post office moved out next door. They downsized, essentially, and this whole building was vacant until 2019, when finally it was renovated and turned into very fancy LEED certified office space for companies like Uber, Walgreens, and Pepsi. They even have their own private park up there at the roof of the building. They've got a green roof, it's called the Meadow. And it even has pickleball courts. I'm so jealous. We can't fit a pickleball court on the roof of my building, as you can see. We're about to pass under a highway here, so this bridge is louder than most.